Welcome to FUNC YOU UP, the podcast that gives you the best of functional medicine, nutrition, and wellness in 8 minutes or less.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome to the first episode of FUNC YOU UP.
We are so excited for our first podcast. This is Michelle Miller, clinical nutritionist,
And Samantha Wineke, functional medicine health coach.
So we are kicking off our very first podcast with a very cool topic.
So today we're going to be talking about meat. And we know this can be sometimes a controversial topic. People ask us a lot of questions. Should I be eating meat? Where should it come from? How often? What portions? So today we're going to cover all of your questions about meat.
Definitely. So let's start with some basics. So you're going to the grocery store, you have a ton of options. We always educate our clients. What we are most interested in is really where this meat is coming from and how it was treated while it was alive. There's a lot of reasons that this is important. I think probably the most important reason is, well, I shouldn't say the most important reason, but the first reason we should talk about is the nutrient content of this. There's so many more vitamins and minerals in organic and grass-fed or pasture-raised animal products because they were outside breathing fresh air, getting the vitamin D from the sunlight and eating grass in its natural diet, getting all of those good nutrients into the body like nature intended. The other thing too is because of this natural way of an animal eating its intended diet and getting more grass and more vitamin D, it's going to have higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids. And as some of you may know, omega-3 fatty acids are more anti-inflammatory, really beneficial for the human body, not only to improve our cholesterol, to enhance our good fatty acids in the body, but also really great lubrication for joint health, just overall amazing anti-inflammatories. If you're going to the grocery store, you're getting more of the conventionally raised animal products. You worry about those animal products being lower in a lot of these nutrients and also being higher in the opposite of almost omega-3 fatty acids, being higher in these omega-6 fatty acids. Now, we do need some of these in our diet, but you don't want to have too high of a levels because these can promote inflammation in the body.
Definitely. So what we're talking about here, right, Michelle, is kind of the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6s. That's
Absolutely.
what's important.
Absolutely.
And so the ratio is what's really important in the grass-fed meat. So along with kind of the nutrient content of these different grass-fed meats, and can we talk a little bit also, can we touch on eggs a little bit? I think that one gets a little confusing too.
Yeah, because there's so many labels, right? I mean, you go to the grocery store and cage-free, pasture-raised, organic.
Yeah.
You see a lovely Amish family. You just don't know, right? Like what's good, what's not, what's just a marketing scheme. What are the typical eggs you'll usually buy?
I go for pasture-raised.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's the one that I think is the highest quality. I think it's one step above organic, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, if it can say organic and pasture-raised, that's amazing. I'm even finding too at my smaller grocery stores here in Brooklyn, we're finding that these are better options. And I will say a lot of times with animal protein, you're getting what you pay for. It's not uncommon for me to find pasture-raised, dozen pasture-raised eggs for $6 to $8 for a dozen. That's probably around the right price range, at least for where we're living right now.
Right. And I think that's what brings us into the topic of portion sizes, because that is really expensive and grass-fed meat can be more expensive. But that's when we need to realize that half of our plate doesn't need to be meat.
So true.
Yeah. So I think as Americans, we tend to think these huge portions of meat when really you should have it as more of a condiment, right? So it should be only about a quarter the size of your plate. So if you're eating less portion sizes but higher quality, it's kind of the old saying of quality over quantity. And That's what we care about most.
Yeah, it definitely balances out. I totally agree. I think Americans have this like meat and potatoes upbringing that, a meal isn't a meal unless you have animal protein as a huge part of it. I've gone out to restaurants and I see these cuts of steak and it's the size of my head. Really, we try to educate our patients on looking at a portion size of protein and thinking of it as a deck of cards or the size and thickness of the palm of your hand, I mean, that's really all we need to get the nutrition that a human adult requires.
Yeah. And you'll be more satiated if it has more of those vitamins and minerals and things like that. You don't need as much.
I also think access to good quality animal protein is a big complaint that we hear, but I think that's really improving. I mean, again, in New York City, we have great access to amazing health food stores and farmers markets and, places like Whole Foods where you any time of day can pretty much go in and get high quality grass fed meats, pasture raised eggs. But I think also there's really cool companies that are offering deliver programs. What are some of your favorites?
So what I've done before is Butcher Box is one of my favorites. They have really high quality frozen meats. So I live by myself, so I actually get a delivery of that and I keep it in my freezer and it actually lasts me about like 2 months.
Yeah.
I'll just take out 1 or 2 portions for the week. So that's one of my favorites. I know Thrive Market just came out with a grass-fed meat line and a like sustainably sourced seafood line. So I'm excited to see kind of where that one goes. Do you have any other favorites?
Yeah, I mean, there's Greenberry's a great company. There's Vital Choice is a great option for fish. I know we didn't touch too much on that, but again, I mean, our waters are so polluted. You really need to make sure the quality of your seafood is high grade as well. And I think also just ethically, spending an extra dollar or two so you get a better product for nutritional purposes, it tastes better. I don't know if I've met anyone who thinks conventionally raised animal protein tastes better versus organic, grass-fed, pasture-raised. And you're doing the right thing for the environment. We think about our soil and soil health, and we need animals eating and excreting on that soil. That's how the cycle of, normal cycle of life of soil works and happens, how we get minerals into our soil. So you're doing the best thing for the environment, you're doing the best thing for your body, you're doing the best thing for the animal. There's no downside to me. I just think it's a win across the board. And I'll always tell my clients, if financially you have to make the decision between spending money on organic produce, fruits and vegetables versus spending money on organic animal proteins, spend it on the animal proteins. I think there's just too much of a reason not to put your money where your mouth is there.
Yeah, definitely agreed. So there's so much more to talk about on this topic, but I think we're about at our 8 minutes. So if anyone does have any questions come up, they can definitely leave us a comment or send us an email or contact us at our Instagram account, and we can definitely answer any more questions that you guys have.
Thanks for joining us for our first podcast. Be sure to spread the word about FUNC YOU UP and subscribe.
See you later.
You've been listening to FUNC YOU UP. Be sure to like, review, and subscribe for more daily tips on living well.